I'm Ollie Davis, this is the WrestleTalk News, and we start the week with an incredible piece of breaking wrestling news. Io Sky still has the Money in the Bank briefcase she won on Saturday, making her the second longest lady holder of the Money in the Bank briefcase in pro wrestling history. Every winner of the women's ladder match has either cashed in their shot that night or the next day. So purely by WWE now running Saturdays for premium live events instead of Sundays, she's shot really high up the record books. Carmella is currently at the top, with everyone else having between an hour and just over a day, and her at 287. Speaking of record books, Natalya, meanwhile, was presented with her own host of achievement unlockings, where the Guinness Book of World Records awarded her over the weekend most WWE matches, female, with 1,514, most WWE wins in a career, female, with 663. She won that many? Most premium live event appearances, female, at 75. Most WrestleMania appearances, female, with 8. And most Raw matches with 174 and SmackDown with 200. Congratulations, Natalya, for being somewhere for a really long period of time. Back to Io, you'd think her handcuffing her Damage Control faction leader Bayley to Becky Lynch, then literally climbing over her to win the ladder match, would split up the group. Not so, according to Bayley herself. Luke already covered her comments in his news video yesterday, go watch that, where she claimed there's no tension right now. And now Bayley has posted a congratulations message to them, tweeting, "I'm so happy for both of my teammates," with a picture of her Damage Control buddies, Io Sky and Damian Priest. This is a reference to ring announcer Samantha Irvine's botch at the show, where she announced Bayley, "Haylene from Judgment Day." Samantha tweeted, "Number of times I was meant to announce representing the Judgment Day this week, 19. Number of times I announced it, 20. Number of times I was meant to announce representing Damage Control this week, 2. Number of times I announced it, 1. Crying with laughter face emoji! Despite the ladder match tension, it seems the Bayley and Io Sky storyline will bubble away for a few more months, perhaps until Io has actually cashed in her title shot, with Bayley there to be her first opponent. Because going by the leaked plans for the biggest party of the summer, Summerfest Slam, they're not booked for the show. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting 6 matches are currently being discussed for WWE's next premium live event, SummerSlam, set to take place in Detroit on the 5th of August. Cody Rhodes is reportedly set to have a rubber match with Brock Lesnar, with both men 1 win apiece. Finish the story, Cody! Following Shayna Baszler's shock turn on Ronda Rousey, costing them the women's tag team titles at Money in the Bank, a Ronda versus Shayna singles match is planned for the show. Meltzer has clarified that he doesn't know Ronda's actual WWE contract situation, but she is leaving sometime relatively soon and wanted to do a program with Baszler before leaving. Which sounds like he does know what the WWE contract situation is. After returning at Money in the Bank, making his first WWE appearance since April's WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre will fight for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship. It's arguably the most credible threat to Gunther's lengthy title reign this year, with the Austrian so close to breaking the Honky Tonk Man's all-time record, which as of today is 69 days away. Nice. Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch are set to have their blow-off match, and following Adam Pearce explicitly telling Bianca Belair not to get involved in the Charlotte Flair vs. Asuka Women's Championship match on SmackDown, and she did, she'll be rewarded with a triple threat between them all for the belt. The most exciting match, however, is possibly the culmination of one of the greatest stories in pro wrestling history, the Bloodline saga, but also maybe not. Move aside Baron Corbin, because Jey Uso became the first man in almost 4 years to pin Roman Reigns during the tag team Civil War main event of Money in the Bank. Unsurprisingly, WWE will use this to set up Roman versus Jey in a singles match for SummerSlam's main event. Now the question becomes, does Roman lose the belt? There are a lot of possibilities going in here. Roman could put Jey over in an attempt to make a new top star in WWE. Now the promotion has 2 titles, there's more freedom to try newer guys out in the championship position. Pro wrestling business history would dictate, though, you turn this into a series of at least 2 encounters. Roman cheats to win the first match, ref bump, visual pin, solo interference, blah 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 blah, to build a rematch and, in theory, not Austin theory, more money at the next WWE Premium Live event, the appropriately named Payback, on the 2nd of September, which just so happens to be the very same event Reigns won his championship at 3 years beforehand. Or there's the most likely option. Roman wins, LOL, because Dave Meltzer is also reporting that WWE's long-term plans have not changed, even in the face of the Bloodline story working so well. And the main event of WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia is still Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, which Reigns will probably win as well. Finish the story, Cody! Of course, Roman could drop the belt for a few months to Jade before winning it back to face Cody, but given Triple H's love of lengthy title reigns and how that would undermine the significance of Rhodes winning, it's unlikely. How do you want Roman to finally lose the belt? Write irrationally angry posts about how it's not LA Knight in the comments down below. Tell you who's probably got some good ideas on how to book it though. Vince McMahon. Said no one ever, apart from one person to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Apparently, according to the unnamed person, while some of Vince's ideas are outdated, presumably things like stereotype cliches, women wrestlers having to smile all the time, and creepy 1950s moustaches, he does give a lot of good input into creative. The main problem is it's not the interference itself that is the problem, it's how and when he does it. Let me just check who the source is for that quote. Mick McVan. One of the more surprising things to happen at Money in the Bank was everyone suddenly going crazy for Grayson Waller talking to an empty ring. Seriously, why is everyone so excited? I'm doing an I can't see him bit, silly me. He's right there! Going by Triple H's media scrum comments, in kayfabe, Cena just turned up and booked WrestleMania for London with no clearance from WWE officials, which has put Hunter in a very difficult position. Naughty, irresponsible, totally planned Cena. Wrestling Observer Radio had already reported that there was no deal in place to do a WrestleMania in London, and WWE were actually hoping to strong-arm London into paying them to bring the show there, something London doesn't really need because it's already got loads of tourist attractions like Buckingham Palace and that guy that sings ABBA songs through a traffic cone outside Victoria Station. And according to Fightful Select, it might not happen anytime soon, if at all. We already know that WrestleMania 40 is booked for Philadelphia. The following year's Mania 41 is also set to take place in the US, possibly in Minnesota. This means a Mania can't happen in London until 2026. But even then, Fightful writes it's much more likely to be a Royal Rumble or a SummerSlam. I actually would prefer a Rumble. Fightful adds that Cena's WWE future is just as up in the air. There are no upcoming plans for him in the company, and he's becoming increasingly difficult to book with all his acting work. But Money in the Bank wasn't the only wrestling thing to happen on Saturday. AEW did a Collision too, only their third ever episode. And in case you missed it, here I am to recap it all in 1 minute. One take. 4, 3, Saturday! Saw MJF beat local enhancement talent Kip Morris in 30 seconds. So much for that big advertised MJF match. Psych! That happened next, as a wild Ethan Page appeared, who was from the place Collision was happening in. Cut a great promo for Max to beat him in a very good TV match. Ethan's a face now. Powerhouse Hobbs beat Dustin Rhodes in the Owen Hart quarterfinal thanks to QT Marshall interference. Dustin bled everywhere, because of course he bloody did. Miro beat Anthony Henry in 3 minutes. Bullet Club Gold officially welcomed the Gun Club to their faction. White called out CM Punk. Ricky Starks beat Juice Robinson in the other Owen Hart quarterfinal. The crowd was weirdly dead. CM FTR chased off Bullet Club Gold after. Sean Spears wants a shot at Christian's TNT title belt, which is actually Luchasaurus's. Chris Statlander beat Lady Frost to retain the TBS title in a clunky match. And the main event saw Samoa Joe beat Roderick Strong by choking him out in the final Owen Hart quarterfinal, meaning he'll face Punk in the next round. Punk was on commentary and got both booed and cheered. Punk has never beaten Joe in a singles match. I cannot wait. I think that was just over a minute. It's much easier to do Collision in a minute because there's only like 6 segments in 2 hours, whereas Dynamite has about 182 segments in 2 hours. We're starting the first episode of our Collision Review podcast today with Laurie Blake and Dan Layton, so subscribe to our WrestleTalk podcast channel for a full deep dive review of the show over there. And finally for today, Jade Cargill is teasing not returning to AEW following Chris Statlander defeating her for the TBS title after a 508-day 60-0 streak reign back in May. Fan asked her if she was coming back anytime soon because they missed her, which Cargill simply replied on Twitter with, "No." Fightful Select had previously reported Cargill was set for time off following her Double or Nothing loss. Now go watch my review of that excellent Money in the Bank. Here's a clip. Baszler randomly turns even more heel on heel partner Ronda Rousey. And oh my god, I think they just killed Logan Paul. Quick, someone check a bottle of Primary's corpse. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk review of WWE Money in the Bank 2023. After the James Bond-themed opening video package nearly made Adam Blompier faint in delight next to me, Mission Impossible is better, Adam. The show kicked off in a big...